at one point we were knocking out stuff and we had obviously double the team, double the machines, but they were all at that time to get everything perfect all the time. There's a lot of waste. So now trying to like not waste half of the team, half of the machines, half of the team, half of the machines, and like really try to like cut on waste and time and stuff. That's definitely going to take some time and skill and really attention to detail for sure.
Well, that's something that you also noticed once you became CEO too, was
Yeah.
you got the blueprints and the maps to everything, all the secret, documentation and information, and you kind of looked at it and was like, I'm basically restarting from scratch. Like
Yeah.
you
Kind of.
basically just
Yeah.
got like a broken house, and then they were just like,
Yeah.
well, go live in that. And then
Yeah.
they're just like,
Well,
it
yeah.
looked
And
really great in the
yeah,
ad, but
exactly. Yeah.
you had to
And to
go in and
shine
like,
some light on that is, it really is that. And I didn't want to go ham yet, but like to shine some light on that, it was like that. I mean, first off, when we were at Greco, like we were already behind. And I'm not scared to
mm,
say that. Like we were already we were hitting that inflection point at Greco.
mhm,
So Greco was in a predicament. They had to make a choice. Like it's either find a new facility, scale up, give this a capital injection, and really try to meet the need and scale. Or the other part was figure out how to sell it to a bigger company or someone who can take this on and scale it and stuff. The problem was though, that is a slow that's a slow go kind of decision and maneuver and stuff like
yep,
that. And it should have been quicker than it was, but it was still drawn out because you're up against a market. First off, like the guys at Greco, they were looking for a new building. It was insane. It was the pinnacle of like commercial real estate. Like things were insanely high. It was hard to find something. And then with that, you got to consider all your employees have to drive to a different location. So you got to
yeah.
find it. You're very restricted. That was a huge first component. Um,
Because
and
I'm
then,
I'm probably like the only, aside from I guess you in a sense, I'm like the only remote employee essentially for
yeah,
CWS because of my position and whatnot. So everyone is making this new commute. Everyone's making
yeah,
this drive in
yeah, which
Michigan, you
was
know?
that's a whole nother piece of this conversation is the chapter of like migrating everything over was hard to say the least. But at this stage, like they were just trying to find a new place. They knew they needed to scale. I mean, we all knew it.
Mhm.
But scale properly. Obviously, you don't. No one here has millions of dollars to just be like, okay, I'll just buy a bunch of machines, new building, and a ton of people, and just hope for the best. I wish
Weekend
that
it
was,
over, have somebody else set it up,
yeah,
hired a
right,
company, set up
yeah,
all the
right,
machines. That way we
yeah,
walk in one day being like, all right, back to work, Like,
yeah,
no, it was not the
yeah.
case at all.
Yeah, so like it was to a point that obviously we were falling behind. The guys were like really trying to figure this out. I mean, we were kind of, me and the other two and the two owners at the time were just like, we have limited options. We just got to keep boasting the brand, maybe getting the attention of some competitors or something to just come and inquire. And but obviously that was like pipe dream at that point
Mhm.
because we were so focused on fulfilling orders too. So it wasn't really like we can focus on one thing. So,
And just for
but
some like insight real fast, like how many orders estimated, of course, like per day or per month or per week does CWS get or was getting currently
I
getting?
mean, it's hundreds. I mean, like it's like four or 500. I mean, but keep in mind, one order could be 25 prints, but the
Mhm.
next order could be 5,000 prints of variant covers and foils and stuff like that. That is insane. Like that's a huge order. It's not like they're all
It's not
every
just
order the
floppy
same.
comics, single
Yeah,
issues, there's so many,
yeah.
like you said, you're catering to specific businesses with
Yeah,
specific
tens and tens of
needs.
thousands of comics being printed every month, like it varies. It could be 100,000, could be, it could be 50,000. We have some data, but it's not really, it's so hard to tell. But
Mhm.
yeah, but we increased. So I guess the contextual point is really, if you're looking back in 2022, we doubled up. So like we were
Mhm.
like doing work, and then we doubled the amount of work, doubled the demand. And so without like really doubling everything else, like we were like Greco had people doing other things that we had to basically pull everyone to start doing comics.
Wow.
So our team technically delivering on comics was we're pretty robust. We had more than enough machines, but it was still growing, and we wanted it, and then we wanted it to keep growing, obviously. But we just couldn't. We couldn't meet that demand, especially when we hit pinnacle times like around like September and like con season, all that stuff. Then you really felt it. You really felt the, customers would want lightning rush like a week before the con. So very, very open, a lot of room for error there.
Mhm.
So that was happening a lot. We couldn't figure that out. So basically, yeah, they were looking for a new building. They couldn't figure out the building, and honestly, it was a blessing from out of nowhere that the owner of Carta Finishing, was friends with Tony, the owner of Greco, and they just got in a conversation. And honestly, it was like at the worst part, we were behind, we were trying to figure it out, and they got in a conversation, and he was like, yeah, I don't mind. I would love to take that off your hands and kind of figure this out. So, obviously I don't know how that conversation went down, but I'm figuring it's something like that. But yeah, so yeah, he took it, and I was notified like immediate, and we had to act fast, obviously,
Mhm.
because the other part of the caveat to all this is like we're ecom. Orders do not stop. There is no pause. There's no slow down. It's dictated by
It's not
the
just
market.
office hours. Can you place an order?
Right.
Like, do
It's
anything.
dictated by the marketplace. It's dictated by, what's going on in the
Conventions.
industry. Yeah, in the industry, and yeah, and our how we can our working hours, and compared to what the demand is. So
Mhm.
yeah, and once that happened, I got notified, and they want to be obviously baked into the deal. So but that was like really fast. Like we have to do it quick. Obviously, the moving like machines and people, and well, moving machines and talking to people,
Mhm.
and having them subscribe to this idea of moving, and they were all beaten down already. I got to be transparent about that. Like all our staff, because it was such a battle at that last 6 to 8 months at Greco, it was such a battle because we knew that we were falling behind. We knew it was tough. We knew we had to do something. We knew we had to scale. I mean, we put our team in overdrive already, and they were seeing this backlash. They were seeing like, oh, late on delivery. Like Pam doesn't want to tell someone she's nurtured a relationship for 8 years that we're gonna be late on their order. Like it
Yeah.
drives her crazy. She always gets on me about that. Like, yeah, it's hard. I know, and it's hard to tell someone that you've nurtured such a good relationship with it. Say like, yeah, I know your cons this week, but we may or may not make it. And it's like that's like got to be the hardest stab in the heart
Yeah.
as someone like Pam. So that was already kind of happening. So we knew the urgency was there, like the urgency. Everyone knew it. It was just it was kind of putting everyone on edge, and it was making the environment kind of rough and tough, and it was just putting a lot of toll on all of us.
Mhm.
However, we saw the future. I tried to instill a vision for where we were going with this opportunity. I knew for a fact it was not going to be easy, and it's not easy, as I predicted. I mean, anyone could have predicted, but it wasn't easy. I knew I had to get those core people over, but with this deal came half of the machines, a fraction of the employees, and a very quick transition
Mhm.
while still operating, with a lot of intricacies that I don't want to talk about, but like a lot of details that were strugglesome, that really
Mhm.
delayed stuff, really made things difficult and challenging to keep the business moving while we were doing this. Uh, I mean, if anyone's out there and in the community has ever dealt with an acquisition or some sort of sale of a business, it gets hairy and it's tough, and it literally impedes production. It impedes a lot of stuff. So we were facing that. So we knew that we had to get out to where we were, but B, it was going to be a rough ride, and it really was, especially at the beginning, because there was a bunch of who knows.
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
we're trying, we want this to survive. We know it's needed in the industry. It's know that we already have built something. It's already in existence, and it's already doing such good things. We can't let it slip by. um so yeah, when we were getting ready to switch over, it was a sequence of events that had to, first I had to sit down with every core member that was I wanted to take with me.
Hmm.
um, I mean, some of them, it's a 45-minute drive. I mean, they're living down the street, 10-minute drive to work back and forth, and then tell them, yeah, it's going to be an hour ride, to
Yeah.
work when it's not traffic, because it's straight to north of Detroit. So it's like the worst drive. And
Yeah.
it's like, how do you know, passion can only get you so far. So like you have to, as a leader, you have to find a way how, and these people were core. We could not have survived without some of the people. So like, obviously I mentioned Pam and Mel, like,
Hmm.
everyone knows them, and just people like them, we couldn't have survived without them. They needed to
No
be
way.
part of this whole thing. So like, to really get them subscribed to the idea, that was my first tackle. That was my first wrestling match, basically, was just trying to get them on board, get them over there, because they were so pivotal in this. And then figuring out the machines, the move, we had to move machines but also still deliver jobs. So Greco was using their machines, we moved the machines over. We were trying to get up and running. But again, we had half the machines, half the people when we got started at Carta. Uh, we're still kind of like, our desks are all over the place. We're trying to like bring organization, but like all that just had to be slapped over there and kept running, kept running.
Yep.
Also, we didn't have a night shift. We didn't
Right.
have a night shift to come over. So we had one production guy
That
basically.
didn't
And
start to what, May, mid-May, I
yeah,
want to say we
it was
found
like,
night shift people.
yeah, April sometime. Yeah. But that was even tough. I mean, because a lot of people kind of just, they didn't want, either they wanted to be part of CWS, or and found out like, I can't do that. I can't do that drive. Uh, we got to get paid more. It's a lot of that thing. So I had to consider a lot of different things. Right off rip, at our first decision was about the team. I said it's like the airplane. When the airplane's going down, obviously you got to put your mask on, before you put your child or the person next to your mask. So it's like, same goes with us. I had to put our mask on, and I'm still trying to fixate our mask, but also still trying to do the customer's mask right next
Yep.
to us. So, but it's important that we do, because we got to get our feet on the ground. We got to get traction. We got to figure out our situation. And I knew that the team was the most important component of that. So yeah, we moved everyone over, and that was a journey in itself. And then when we got everyone situated, there's still like lagging things that needed to be closed. These story loops that were connected with Greco, we were using their server, so there was like a database thing we had to switch over. That was pretty hard, but Carta wasn't like ready for like this pace that we brought. Obviously they are now, but like, it was shocking, I feel like, to everyone, of the climate. I mean, just like moving to a new school when you're a kid. I mean, everything's
Yeah.
so shocking. New faces, new processes, new agendas and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what we had to face. And with all that being said, that obviously had some sort of causation in like production and getting jobs through, and like keeping people from not burning out, which was like the hardest thing, and still is the hardest thing. You
Mhm.
don't want people to burn out. So yeah, so when we moved over though, it was you know we saw the light. We definitely still see the light, and we saw the light, and we knew that we just need to work out A, B, C, and D. And
Hmm.
once we get through these things, then yeah, and some people will be mad at us, some customers, and we will have casualties. It's just like that's kind of the way it is. It's like if we couldn't, if we didn't, if we had the option to not like screw up anyone's orders or be late or
Yeah.
delay, like of course we would do whatever we could to do. It was just inevitable to face these kind of things. But the good side of this is that, now we all know the specific problems. We all know the specific weak points. We all know what we have to do, and we all know the process of doing it. It's just a matter of like executing every step and taking baby steps along the way to put processes, systems, machines, people, everything in place, really set us up infrastructurally down to the core to so we build up and then be like positioned to scale. That's kind of my mindset, and you know, and that's where we're at now. In a sense, it's just I bought a new machine. I got a night shift. I brought on two more people, or a lot more people.
Yeah.
I really injected it back into um, where we not so much of where we were, but like at least we have a lot more muscle behind us. Now it's just fixing a lot of these intricate problems that I'm seeing in each stage of the process, and that's kind of where we're examining now. Um, and we've all come together. I mean, you guys, marketing, my marketing team is all supported customer service now. We're really
Hmm.
trying to find this symbiosis, and just everyone kind of can put on each other's hats and support each other. I mean, I really wanted a family like setting for our culture. So I feel like what better way to bond with like your like, the people that you work with than to go through trauma. I mean, like
Yeah. Yeah.
they say like the best relation. I mean, some of the strongest relationships were built on first off of trauma, shared trauma. And I feel like I joke about it, but it's true. I mean, we get through this and we start building success and getting back on track. Like there's a story to be told within
Yeah.
each of us that has some sort of shared transformation, and I think there's no better compelling story than that. So it's a beautiful thing for sure. But it's been a rocky road to say the least, and it still is.